Hey everyone, welcome back on another episode of the Hustle Haus Collective. I am your host, Vivian Jeffress, and today I have a very special guest and an amazing topic that we're talking about. We're talking about marriage in motion. It's a heavy one. And my guest today is very special to me, who is my husband, Mr. Bryan Jeffress. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you.
And so first, I just want to a little disclaimer. Do you want to make a little disclaimer with me?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, good. We have been together 14 years. Actually, this month is our anniversary.
What's the date?
I thought you knew the date.
I know the date.
You know the date? Okay. Oh, so you're testing me.
This is a big test already.
Oh, okay. It's the 23rd of August.
Right on.
And we
can continue this podcast now. I'm not going to walk off.
All right, so not going to walk off. No, but in all seriousness, we are not professional marriage counselors or anything like that. We are just really going to share our perspective of our 14 years of really just our journey, and it's going to be just a real talk of our journey and what works for us. We do have, a lot of people that say you guys emulate an amazing couple and you guys have an incredible relationship, and it is. And I definitely will say it does take work. And I think, talking to other married couples who have a very successful journey of 30, 40, 50 years plus in a marriage, we definitely don't know as much as them, but we can only share what we have experienced and what has worked for us. And we're going to make it fun as well, even though it's a subject that, could seem a little heavy. But I think we should just get into just sharing a little bit of ourselves and our story and how we met. And in my opinion, I don't know what you think of our relationship, but in terms of our story, but I think it's, if I was to really put a little title on it, it's everything happens for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we may not think that is a good thing because it's even if you're going through a bad situation, you're everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why you're going through this bad season in your life, but no one wants to hear that because it's there's no reason why I'm going through this. But I think with us and how we met, it really exemplifies everything happens for a reason. Because I always say this, and might come off wrong, but I don't care. But if I never married my ex-husband, I would have never met Bryan. So
no, true.
That's part of, everything happens for a reason. So yeah. Do you want to share on how we met a little bit? I can start off.
So we both obviously come from divorces.
Yes.
And you're correct. If you never would have married your ex-husband, you probably most likely never would have wound up in Rhode Island, mm-hmm. That's where I went to college. That's why I wound up there at Johnson Wales, and growing up upstate New York. But I think it's like what you're saying before, as far as sometimes you just know when you meet that person.
So you're saying you knew?
I'm not saying
you knew
but
when I met you?
Well, we both agreed that at that time, either one of us would have ever thought that we would date one another or even anything, right? Because, I think you did a little bit when you first met me.
No. Okay. If someone said to me, this guy.
Yeah, me.
How many years was that? I can't do basic math. I'm an artist, guys, not a mathematician.
26.
But I was 27 when I met you, but we didn't actually start dating until I was 34.
Correct.
So
32, because 5 years after.
Maybe I was a little bit older than when I met you, maybe a 20. We don't even know, guys. We have no freaking clue.
But it was in your mid 20s.
Yes, I would say like late 20s when we met.
Yeah.
But at the time, if someone said, this is going to be your husband, I would have been like, you're crazy. Heck to the no, because I already had my husband at the time. But yeah, so if I had not married my ex, and very grateful for him, right? Because it brought me to the journey of moving to Rhode Island, working in the industry where I worked, which was the auto business, prior to changing my career path in the beauty world. And Bryan was married. I was almost married, I think. I was engaged at the time.
Yep.
And we were co-workers. We were just co-workers. And somehow, you know how it is when you're co-workers, you become Facebook friends. And then that friend is on your Facebook friend list and you just forget about them in a way, right?
I mean, I didn't forget about you. I think I kept you in the back of my
back of your mind.
Yeah.
Every now and then you thought of me.
Subconsciously.
But no, so we met when we were working together up in Rhode Island, unbeknownst to us that we would ever even reconnect when I moved back to New York.
Correct, yeah.
Right?
We knew of each other.
We knew of each other. We had connected. And then Bryan, you want to share this next part?
So, so it was a crazy story. I just remember that I was sitting in the driveway of the house that I owned in Rhode Island with one of my best friends, Asa Knapp, and we were, I don't know, I remember I was just on Facebook and I was, just scrolling. We were sitting in the driveway. Don't ask me why we were sitting in the driveway, but we were at the time. And your profile came up, and then I noticed that all the photos of your ex were down. So then I was like, I have to investigate this a little bit more.
Knowing you now and who you are, that's definitely you. He's like, I need to investigate.
I had to.
Yes. Bryan.
Plus, I want to make sure that you didn't take him out or something too. I want to,
Wait, no, really quick pause. But Bryan is like, I'm not one to gossip. I'm not like, what do they call that?
Yentas.
Like a yenta? Is that even, that's good? Okay. Jay's giving me the thumbs up. He's like, yes. He's like number one with that stuff. I'm like, sort of like, yeah, I don't even need to be bothered, but I can see why you wanted to investigate, to get some like juicy gossip.
Well, not so much gossip. I just wanted to confirm what I was seeing, because, it's just all the pictures I noticed were down.
Yeah.
And long story short, I was like, I should, of course, guy thing, like Asa, I think Viv, I think maybe she's single now. And at that time, I actually wasn't really even looking to get in another relationship. I was still trying to find me after my divorce. And I was like, I should reach out to her, because that weekend or the weekend after that, I was going to be in the city. And so I start, typing the old school time, and they're like, hey, how are you? And Asa rips the phone out of my hands. He was like, let me do it. So he basically, I think something along the lines, it's, hey, what's up? Going to be in the city. Like normal Asa, the way Asa would write something.
Very direct.
And then I said to him, I was like, don't send it. Let me see it first. And then, of course, he sent it. And that's how then you saw it. You could explain how you took that.
Yes.
But that's how it kind of started. And it's wild because we literally talked for like 2 months, 3 months before we even had our first initial date.
Yeah.
And that was back in remember the Tango? Was it Tango?
Right. Tango, yes.
The Tango
we
days.
Didn't even have FaceTime, guys. We had iPhones were not what they are today. We didn't have FaceTime. We had like Skype and Tango, which are apps where you can video. And so I lived, let's just recap. So many, many years ago, when I lived in Rhode Island, moved there because of my ex, met Bryan because we were co-workers. We were both not available to each other, but somehow landed on each other's Facebook. And then about 5 years goes by. I moved back to New York, go through a separation / divorce. And he goes through a divorce 2 years before that. And then miraculously, he said he stalked me on Facebook, and that was that.
We're going to play that back. I don't know if I said I stalked you. You came up as I was. But that
I came up.
But that important part
Yes.
is, and this is where it comes into talking a little bit about more what we're going to speak of tonight. But
Yes.
I think it was fate. I think just someone was watching over us and said, you two are going to connect at some point, because 5 years went by and there was not even a hello. Like we never stayed in communication or anything like that. And then what's interesting is we just picked up so quickly and we connected so quickly, and then just one thing led into the other. But we always say the best time, or
it's about
one of the best
timing.
Experiences that we had was that 2-year gap where we had a long distance relationship.
Yes. Oh, that was fun.
It was.
It was fun.
It was like a party every time we got together.
Yes.
We only got to see each other, maybe a couple months could go by, sometimes. So, so for 2 years.
Yeah. So we had a 2-year long distance relationship, which was a good, I guess,
balance,
especially coming out of, a long marriage for myself and for you. But I think back to what I was saying is, everything happens for a reason. And at the time when, going through my divorce and separation and that low season of my life, there was a reason that was happening, right?
Yeah.
And there was a reason why I had to move to Rhode Island and go through that journey of growth to be able to find my lobster. And if you watch Friends, you know what that means.
I don't.
He's like the only human that does not watch.
I'm the only one
that has never watched Friends.
I know. Don't shame me for this, any of the listeners or viewers.
Anyway,
it's just not on my list of
you didn't,
shows.
You didn't anyway. But yes, but it was about the right timing. So. Fast forward now, we obviously were dating. We had 2 years long distance relationship, which was fun. But then there was a point where it was a little bit frustrating, right? So it was like, what do you do? Do I move back to Rhode Island? Do you move back to New York? And those were some really hard decisions to make, especially for you, because you're like, I have to up and leave Rhode Island. I think what you were kind of ready to do.
I was, I got so involved, I think, and inundated with real estate and construction back then, and flipping houses with one of my buddies. And but then I think when I met you and we started talking more, it also opened up my eyes that maybe there is more to life than just doing this and staying in Rhode Island. And and as I got to know you more, you also pulled me in different directions, just like I helped pulled you, because we both had some buried, how do you want to say it? Buried emotions maybe, or some deep sadness or hurt from things in the past. So, that was also a working action challenge for us every single day. Especially again, being away for 2 years, being in a long distance relationship for 2 years was probably one of the hardest things that I think I had to do and go through. Yeah,
I think, us coming from two failed marriages, right? Mm-hmm. So your marriage failed, my marriage failed.
One each, not two each.
Right, one each.
I don't want to mix that. Right. One each.
One each. Mm-hmm. And then having to also be long distance. Yes. And I think even just thinking back, this is actually the very first time that we've had really an opportunity to really sit and publicly speak about this. And also just sitting here with you talking about it is really just bringing me back, right? Bringing me back to our mindset, how we were. Of course, everybody matures, everybody grows through, life, and we evolve. But if you knew us 14 years ago, it's like night and day. Why? And I think this is a very important piece to why I think we can actually speak on relationship. And it's just our journey, right? It's our journey and our action steps. And Bryan and I are really going to give some tangible action steps that we take on a daily basis to keep the relationship going, to keep the relationship new, and all of that. And I think just thinking back how I personally was, I needed a lot of growing, right? And I think, going through those ups and downs and the struggle of having a long distance relationship, and we wanted that normal, normal way of living, because it was like I would go see him for 4 days, which took me out of my routine, and he would come see me then. 2-3 days takes me out of my routine. I'm very routine oriented.
Yes.
And I remember we were at the ferry, Bridgeport and Port Jeff Ferry, and he was going back to Rhode Island, and he was also trying to find a job in New York for 2 years with a master's degree, which, that was a struggle in itself. It takes a toll mentally. And I think, that one day when you were just looking up and saying, when is this going to end, at the ferry, and saying, I need to get a job, otherwise I don't want to keep doing this, right? And then miraculously he got a call on the ferry that minute, actually.
As soon as the ferry took off from the dock.
So it was like, the man above answered the prayer.
We were right there. Like, that was that one point where we weren't sure and really questioning, is this going to work? Should we take a break? And gosh, I like, imagine, I don't even want to imagine it. It was crazy. Yeah. If that ever.
Where would you be without me?
I don't know. It wouldn't be as well as I am today.
Aw, thanks. I know you believe that. And he's not just saying that. He truly believes it. But thinking back 14 years ago and where we were, definitely broken, I would have to say, for myself. Did not have a good perspective and strength of who I was, and let alone to be able to trust another man to come into my heart. And so there was a lot of value, I think, that we brought to each other in terms of what you did for me and what I did for you. For me, I know that you broke down my walls and, allowed me to be able to trust again. And it took taking a risk, right? But I think you have to. I think, if you are, someone who's listening right now and says, I just went through a bad divorce and through a bad breakup, there is bitterness that you feel, and then you just build that wall where you're like, I'm not going to let anyone else in because I'm not going to allow myself to get hurt again. But you have to. You have to find ways to heal and to believe that everything does happen for a reason, and that there is, your true love is out there somewhere. But you have to I had to learn to love myself first and do a lot of that work. And for Bryan and I would say over a decade now, we've been working on ourselves, personal growth, positive mental attitude, really, diving into, even with counselors, spiritual counselors, one-on-one, together. Why? Because we knew, what did we say? It's like, if I get married again, I am not getting divorced, right?
No D word.
No D word, right? But it does take a lot of growth as an individual, and to open up my mind and know that I'm not always right and he's not always right. But it's really creating that growth for yourself first, and then as an individual, and then together in a relationship. And a lot of things that really helped us is learning our temperaments, right?
Yeah, that's I think that was one of the, wasn't a challenge for me, because you know me very well, but to out there in the camera or at the lens that I'm staring at,
the audience, our friends who are here hanging out with us. You folks don't know me as well, or maybe some of you do who are watching, but
as a male, you have a certain ego about you, and it's breaking down those walls to. It's like, right, we talk about, it's like from going to lower level to higher, or going through the valleys to get to the mountaintops. Like you said it before, it's a lot of self-reflecting, self-talk, continued building every day. And going back to what you said before, what I thought about when you said about understanding your personalities and stuff like that, we started reading Personality Plus. We started learning the personality traits, right? And for anyone out there who, in the audience, who hasn't read that book, I think it's a great book to really not only understand and to better understand yourself, but then if you have a partner that reads it as well, you guys start to learn each other's, different personality traits, right?
Yeah.
And we understand why we are both melancholy in control, which is when you have two people who are in control, like controlled people, there's a lot of work there.
I think when we're talking about understanding each other and learning our personalities is one thing, but our true like DNA, which is your temperament, and, because your personality is developed through your experiences, your environment over time. But your temperament is like your God-given traits. That's your DNA and who you are and how you are wired. And learning about myself, and we had different temperament experts and spiritual counselors that really have helped us through that. I mean, one of the books, like Bryan said, is Personality Plus. I find that that's an older book about temperaments, but I'm sure if you just Google.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's so many more resources on temperaments. Melancholy, choleric, supine, sanguine, phlegmatic are the 5 temperaments. We're not going to get into that. I'm not an expert about it, but we are going to have a guest, and I know who. You know who. We're going to have her on this podcast for another episode about temperament. She's amazing. We're not going to mention her yet. That's a side note. But it's really about learning yourself. But now that I really know how Bryan is wired and to his core, it almost gives me a sense of that I can extend grace to you, right? And I can even extend grace on myself. But also knowing my temperament and knowing the negative traits about my temperament, I can pivot. Right? I can pivot and say, I don't have to be so task-oriented when Bryan is trying to come to me when he's being his little funny, cute self, and he's singing, and he's so cute and funny. He's always joyful. He always says, I'm the joyful one.
You are. I think we are. We both are together.
Yes. I mean, he's very serious. He's a very serious, like very intense kind of guy, especially when he's got some things that he needs on his, on his brain that he needs to take care of. But
I just need to be able to check off that box. Once I check off that box,
yes,
I can kind of check back in.
But how is this making sense to the listener is understanding yourself and how you are and how you respond to situations versus react to situations. When you're reacting, in my opinion, you're living out of your negative temperament trait. And when you're responding, you are now understanding how your situation, and you're pivoting from your negative temperament. So I think that, the lesson here is figuring out a way to really truly understand you, how you're wired, and then your partner for themselves, and then together understanding each other. Because when Bryan knows, and when I'm in task mode and he's like being goofy and he's like, oh, she's in task mode. But I'm like, okay, you know what? I can give him 5 seconds and just in his playfulness, make him feel good, And so knowing your own temperament and really doing that work, I think is a great thing for yourself, but also understanding, when I know Bryan's being a certain way, I'm not going to take offense to that, right? I'm just going to say, oh, he's being his, task-oriented or his drill sergeant way. Sometimes, but I think the point is really number one, you have to understand how to grow yourself, which I feel looking back 14 years ago and how we were and how we fought, how we, got mad at each other is so different to how we are now. Right. And we still fight. We're not, exempt from that. We're not perfect, but we fight differently now.
Well, we fight fairly. Right?
Fairly.
That's where we came
I
up
always
with.
win.
You always win, but it's a fair.
He admitted it. I love that.
It's a, I don't like to really use the word fighting. I like to use the word disagreement.
Disagreement, yes. And I don't always win. I'm just kidding. It's not about winning.
No, it's not
It's
about
coming to an understanding.
Yeah. But when we have disagreements, we can say fighting, but it's fighting fairly, right? Everyone's going to have arguments throughout the relationship. There's going to be ups and downs. You have to normalize it. A great example of that, I think every relationship is, you have to normalize it. But you also have to be, what I've learned and what you've helped me learn is when it comes to being fair, it's listening, right? Because I, in the past, have always had, my challenge was always interrupting you and not letting you finish your thought. And when I do that, obviously then it just takes you away from your final thought. And what happens a lot of time is that I don't hear your entire thought process. And I assume, I'll say it, I assume, sometimes I might judge a little bit, I'm getting better. But we understand more. And you had said it actually the other day when we were driving. When we argue or we have disagreements, we learn so much from it, even being together 14 years later.
Absolutely.
We just learn more. And I feel like it's getting easier to argue with you. Does that even make sense?
That's a great goal. I mean, listen, we actually have some bullet points. So this way we are bringing value to you guys and we are staying on track because we can just talk about, our relationship and all that. But we do want to bring value and actually some tangible point that you can, take and apply it into your relationship. And 14 years, like I said before, is not a long time, but long enough. I think for some people, it's like, oh my God, that's a long time. That's amazing. And then for those who have been together, 50 years, they're like, yeah, you got nothing on us. But what does that 50 years looks like, right? Is one person on one end of the couch and is the other person on the other end of the couch and you guys are just looking down on your phones, right? So it's also the quality of the time, in my opinion, that I want to be with my person for 50 years plus, what have you. But I want that to be a good. I don't want it to just be, all right, well, we're together. We're just, going with the flow. We're just here, but we hate each other and we're sleeping.
We're very comfortable.
Or we're comfortable or the spark is gone. And, I can't speak for those who are in a marriage for 50 years, but I always say I will not quit without a fight. I won't go down without a fight, whether it's with looking and staying young and relevant. And I'm not that person. And I think when it comes to my relationship or our relationship, I'm the same way. I said to Bryan, I want the fairy tale in the very beginning. I think it is possible for us to keep the lust, the love, the fun, the excitement. It's going to take time and work. And I feel like you have to be self-aware in your relationship. And we have those moments where I'm like, oh, back up. We've reached a point, and if we don't address it now, it's going to get stale.
Yes.
You can feel those things where there have been times in our relationship where it's become a little mundane and we're like, hang on. Bryan's like, when was the last time you cuddled me? He's a cuddler. When was the last time? You're so busy. You have these businesses that you're running. When are you going to give me time? And if he or I don't put the brakes on or pump the brakes and say, hey, this is going to just continue to become habitual, where I'm too busy, I'm not giving him his little cuddles or his goodnight kiss. And it's those little things that we do have to become self-aware and know, oh, something's got to change.
Yeah. I think it to sum that up, when you're talking about that thing, I think it goes back to our routines that we created together, and our routines specifically for growth in our relationship.
Yes.
Right? Like, one of the things, or one of those routines that really, really helped me is when we check in with one another.
Yeah.
Like, we have our check-ins. Like, we have our check-in every morning is, we created a little nook. What do we call it? The coffee nook in our house?
A little coffee nook. And when it's cold out, we do it. We have this little coffee lounge in our kitchen that we created. We took out that kitchen table and we're like, who sits here? Everybody sits at the counter.
Who needs a kitchen
and
table?
we have
a dining room table, and there's only two of us.
Yes, exactly. So we made a little coffee lounge. And in the wintertime, we'll sit there every morning. And actually, Bryan is the one that started it during our personal development journey. And by the way, guys, it's like a decade of us really working on our personal growth. It has become part of our DNA. Like, you get up, you brush your teeth, you don't even think about it, where you are on the way to work. You're like, did I brush my teeth today? Because you're on autopilot. And I think when you create these amazing habits and routines and rituals, as Bryan would call it, priming yourself in the morning, it becomes part of your DNA. It's like just brushing your teeth. So every morning, this is what we do. We get up, we make the bed together, right?
Every morning.
It's
got to be perfect.
Yes. We make the bed together. Then we got to drag Julius off the bed.
But if Bryan wants to sleep in a little bit, Vivian will still make her half of the side of the bed. And what happens is, when Vivian makes her half of the side of the bed, she still ruffles the cover. So if you think about it, creates a wave, and then the covers come off me for a second, and then they go back down. Then she pulls them and tugs them and puts her pillows back. And by then, Bryan's already up.
That's the point.
I know.
Get up. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, of course, I would let him sleep in it.
We feel so good when we make our own bed together.
Yeah.
That's our start. Like, that's number one, making the bed, no phones. It goes back to my 80-20 rule of, the quiet noise and
quiet the noise.
And I definitely want to talk about that as well. But that's what starts us every day. That's our one main routine. And then we make sure we brush our teeth, because we want to have fresh breath first.
It has a scientific thing about that. Like, you guys, don't drink your coffee, don't take your vitamins, don't even drink water before you brush your teeth, because it has a lot to do with your microbiomes and all that stuff. So brush your teeth. First. Then do everything else. That's just a little extra tip.
Definitely. No, definitely. But that is, if we don't do that, it's not going to be
right.
It's just not going to be a good day for us. It's not going to be a good action.
Sets
the tone.
It does set the tone for the day. So one of the things, and this is the work that works for us, right? And one of the things, like Bryan was saying, is we have these daily check-ins to have these like connection conversations, right? So our first thing is we make the bed, we brush our teeth, we go downstairs, and it could look different every day, right? So if maybe the person who's listening is like, well, my husband wakes up at 4 a.m. When am I going to do that, right? So it's going to look different for your routine. Maybe it's something when he gets back home. Maybe it's something at night. Maybe it's something throughout the day, right? But this is what works for us and for our schedule. And if we have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, Jay's like, heck no, because he's not a morning guy. But yeah, so we will make that work for us. And after that, we'll make our mushroom coffee, matcha tea, regular coffee, whatever it is. And then we'll sit and what's your day look like? I'll journal. Bryan, that's not his thing, but I will journal. We will read a positive mental attitude, quote, something that gives us that connection, even if it's for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's so important.
It's so important. So just so that's actually action step number 1. It's really having those daily checkpoints and small conversations to really connect with each other. And I think, again, in a busy routine, people have businesses, jobs, kids.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. And it's so if this routine doesn't specifically work for you as far as the time frame in the morning, just find some time at some point, whether it's before you go to bed, just at some point where you can connect with your partner.
Yeah.
And to continue to stay on the same page with one another and have check-ins, even if you can just stop by, and every now and then I love to bring Viv coffee at her studio, surprise her. My biggest thing is I like to scare her. So
I got you the other day,
you
though.
did get me the other day.
Oh, I scared him good. And it's just like having fun, It's just like
so much having fun.
I literally hid behind the door. I got him. He thought I was in the backyard. He jumped so high.
I actually did. You got me good, which you never usually do.
I always, yes.
Usually I can hear
try.
you. But my two top favorite things where I get the most laughter is that, or a lot of time when we're leaving like a store or we're walking somewhere, we're walking back to the car. I don't know what happens. Viv she just you don't check out, but you just start walking. And
squirrel.
It happens so many times
like
where
a dog.
I'll know the car is straight ahead, but Viv's ahead of me a little bit. And then she'll just start walking to the left. And I love it because I just stop every time and I just watch her and I want to see how far she can get before she realizes. But those are the things, those are our moments where it gives us a break to laugh.
Yes.
You can become just, like you said, like robotic, routine, on autopilot, with kids, without kids, with 2 jobs, as an entrepreneur, in between jobs, whatever it is, you have to have time to find some fun out of life.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that more and more being with you, because I can be the person that's go, 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 go.
And very serious.
But then I'm learning too, as I mature and get older, it's so important. Time, you can't get that back. You can't get it back. Like when we talk about 14 years, I just get emotional because it has gone by so fast with you. And I want it to slow down now. Like I want the next 15 years to just go super slow so I can continue to enjoy those special moments with you every single day, having fun, creating laughter, and just living life together.
Yeah.
Because we get one chance, right?
That's, well,
my next, yes.
In our story.
My next life we talk about,
chance.
We're going to come back like Julius, our dog.
With us as owners, though.
He's got the best life. Yes.
I was telling him the other day.
Did you have a convo with him
I had a conversation with him.
So Vivian has a lot of conversations with Julius, just so you know.
Wait, you heard this conversation. What was I saying?
No.
Something about how you're so lucky and there's dogs out there and I'm going to kill whoever. I was telling him about like how there's bad people who abuse animals and he's very lucky. Anyway, he gets me. Julius, he knows.
Did he respond or what was
But the point is... The point is making the effort. I think out of this entire one point, having the daily check-ins, it's really making the effort. Yeah, Bryan you make the effort to stop in. If I'm working like a 10 to 8 one day back to back with clients, he makes the effort to just stop in because he can't call me also because I'm with clients, right? So
I usually FaceTime your assistant.
He'll FaceTime my assistant.
Have her walk into the room.
Yes, and he'll be like, Brian's on the phone.
Brian needs you. Yeah.
Yes, but he will. He'll stop in. He'll ask, my assistant, like, what kind of coffees you guys want? He'll just bring us coffees and stuff. But it's about taking that, making the effort, right? So it's making that effort to figure it out with each other. What is going to work for us to have these like daily little, checkpoints.
And you're with your other person, your significant other a lot, right? So there's a quantity of that time, but then it comes down to what is that actual quality? So out of that time that we're together, that 100%, how much of that percentage is actual quality time, right? And we talk about that a lot because it's so important for us to spend that quality time together. And, to really, really, and so I think you have to be spontaneous too with that quality time. So the other night I said, let's reinvent our first date. And what was that, Friday night, Saturday night? One of the nights. It was a great night.
Saturday night, yes. And we did. We had a great evening. He said, let's reinvent our first date.
Yeah.
And it was better.
Yeah, I think
first date was better.
Well, no, our first date was
it was
cool,
good.
though.
It was cool. Yes. And we actually talked about the first date and how like Bryan was like, remember you said you were like checking me out and you're like, you had some like type of cool like lingerie under your shirt. I was like, what? How did you see through my shirt? Yeah. Anyway, I was not wearing lingerie.
She planned that night.
Maybe.
No,
but this night, Saturday night, which was a couple of days ago, he's like, let's reinvent our first date. And I'm like, that's so cool. And it was date night, but we talked about our first date and how that looked like. And it was just a fun night. We went to this really cool spot and we choose like to go to like different spots, like different cool things to experience. But I want to circle back actually on what we were talking about before. I hear this a lot where it's like, oh, he doesn't know how hard I work and what I have to go through during the day. And I hear this from, people who have kids and people who are in marriages. And it's like, oh, I have the kids all day long. Then I have to go home and then I have to cook. And then, but, at the same time, it's like, what about your husband, right? Like, he has to work hard. I think it's about understanding each other and giving the credit. Because so many times you can be like, well, I did the laundry. I did this. I did that. I. And then you're just putting everything on yourself, thinking that the other person is not doing as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's really about understanding how hard the other person works, even if it doesn't seem like they are, right?
Yeah, it's really coming down to practicing every day appreciation for one another.
So good. So true.
Gratification goes extremely far with you. Words of encouragement. It could be just a simple thing where I just look at you and say, you're beautiful today. Or it doesn't have to be, and I want to make sure the audience understands that as well. It doesn't have to be this grand prize. You spend a lot of money or, you go on a real expensive date or you purchase a new pair of sneakers. Like, it doesn't have to be that every time. Of course, girls love gifts.
Yes.
But it could be just more thoughtful things. Like, I love Valentine's Day for you. It's one of probably my most exciting moments.
Guys, if guys are listening here, this is your time to learn from Bryan.
I remember, you want some pointers, man.
He is so romantic. I will say, you are very romantic.
Didn't I carve a pumpkin?
And mail it to me?
So I carved a pumpkin.
When we lived long distance. He carved a heart.
And a heart,
in a pumpkin. Put it in a box and send it to me.
Put it in a box and send it to you as a little gesture because that's when we were still
long distance. Yes, and it is. It's the little things. And he used to mail me a card every now and then. When we were long distance for 2 years, I would get a card mailed, and he would make fun of me because the cards that I would give him, like whether it be a birthday card or whatever, I would just like write like 2 things and just love Viv, and he would write paragraphs.
You've gotten a lot better though with that.
And I'm like, oh god, I have to write something good here.
Well, I gotta
chat GPT this or something.
Letter, and then I get a card from Viv. Like 3 words.
But it's Bryan is romantic. I would definitely say that that's not a common thing, mainly for a lot of men. But I think you don't have to be a certain way, but I think it's just putting the effort in, knowing that what makes your significant other happy, whether it's a male, female, or both, or whatever. Like, right. So we also have to address it to all sex, relationships. And I think your partner, knowing your partner, and I think that's where Bryan knows me, he it's the little things for me. Like, he carving out that pumpkin, sending me a card. And actually, when we moved in, I would actually get a card mailed to me still for the very few, maybe like the first year of us living together. He would still mail me a card. And I was like, babe, we live together now. I mean, and it is because he knew and he knows it's the little things that really matter to me. I don't need an expensive gift, although those are nice. He like when you make me something,
you love it more.
I love it more. It's just, and I don't know if that's just how you always were in your other relationships, or you just know.
Nope.
You just know.
You're the only one. But I'm just
kidding. but it's about knowing what your partner, what makes them happy,
and it can be simple things too, like
what's their love language. In a sense.
What's their love language, but just simple things that don't die out. Because I remember when we first met, what did you always say to me? Are you going to be like this forever?
Oh, yes.
Are you going to be like this forever? You said it all the time in the beginning. I was like, yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be like this forever? Now I changed it up. Now, anytime, because, like 14 years later, realistically, I mean, he is romantic. He is amazing. We've grown and we're better now than we were then. But, those little things are not as often. So anytime.
Whoa.
Anytime.
They're just as often.
Anytime that happens, now I say, can you be like this forever? Are you going to be like this forever? Can you be like this forever?
There doesn't go a day that goes by that you do not open the door yourself. They're
valid.
I don't know. I just love taking care of you. I think when you're in a relationship and you really truly love that person and is genuine, you just love taking care of them. You love getting them to smile. You love being there as, to pick them up, which we've done a bunch of times with one another. When you have bad days, when you're second guessing yourself as an entrepreneur, when you don't think you could do it anymore. I mean, how many times would you say a year that one of us come to one another and like, that's it. We're selling everything. We're liquidating everything. We're selling the house, the cars, everything, and we're moving. And we say, can we just go live on an island and just you, me, and Julius?
Just do yoga.
We'll start a little like beach hut with a little bar, and then we, then obviously we have to come back to reality. Your mom, she would never let that happen.
Oh God, yes.
Our renewal. But practicing appreciation and gratitude. And you are such a good example of that. You're like, just be grateful every day. Be grateful, and be happy what we have. And I'm so happy what I have. And I think I'm one of the luckiest guys, honestly, in the world, just to have someone like yourself. That what I loved about you too, meeting you in the beginning, is that you weren't codependent. You were truly an independent person. And what I mean by that is you could be just fine on your own. You're that strong of a woman and you will just figure it out. And what is interesting though is your relationship, not to get in a past relationship, but it was kind of opposite, because your ex was the one that was the guy who took care of everything and did everything. And
whoa.
But I feel like you did. No, 100%. Well. But I feel like you got your wings when you said, you know what? I'm going to open up my own business. And that's when you opened up your own business. Your first business, 17, 18, 19 years ago?
Yeah, 19. Mm-hmm.
And that's where I saw you just spread your wings and look at who you've become today. Yeah. Now, you still need me. I don't want you to think that, no, you don't need me. You still need me. I think it's
just about validation, right? Like, I feel like so many females, males, the wife, the husband, doesn't matter. But I think there's some type of validation that people need. But I don't think you need to be validated to feel.
Correct.
It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that, oh, nice earrings. Did you get those? Are those new? Like, oh, is this a new outfit? You look pretty. Everyone needs to feel that their person is paying attention to them and values them in some way. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't need that validation from anyone else. You validate yourself. And that's, again, my opinion. I feel it's nice to hear it. And sometimes it is. Sometimes I'll tell Bryan, today I need some positive affirmations from you because I'm just having one of those days. And it's about communication and really communicating to your person what you need. He's not a mind reader. He's not going to know what I'm really going through, although he can he can read me pretty well at this point, but sometimes we can really put on a nice front and a smile and not allow anybody to understand what is going on the inside. And it's about communication, because if he knows how I'm feeling, he's not going to, like, if there's a wound that is happening within me in the moment, in the season, and he doesn't see it like an actual like scar on my body, like if I had a scab that was healing, he's not going to poke at it, right? But if it's the invisible, which is on the inside, I have to allow him to know what is going on with me, so he is, extending grace to me and helping me.
How important is it to you to keep that physical attraction alive, like that lust?
Are we there? Are we not even through all of our stuff? But I feel like that's kind of the end.
Because it just led me into that a little bit. Because I think
we can talk about that.
I think, not that it's on my mind, or always on my mind, but
oh god,
no, but it's so important to keep that lust, to keep it alive.
Absolutely.
And I know I might be jumping around.
Yes.
That's what I do.
But I mean, that is so important. And we are definitely going to
that towards the end.
We're definitely going to talk about it, but I just want to make sure that we're giving, some value to our audience. And obviously we talked about creating like little daily check-ins and creating some type of system that will work for you to have, a connecting something to connect with in every day, and not like forget, because our days can go by and it's like, okay, I didn't even get a chance to see you or talk to you, right? So definitely that's number one. Number two is, how are we arguing, right? Your arguments, really, you're going to have arguments, but how are you arguing? And are you allowing each other to understand, where he's coming from? And you can never, like, Bryan has this way that everything is done his way and it's the right way, right?
97% of the time, yes, that is correct.
Understanding that we're all individuals, and I may, be a little bit more detailed when I'm on the phone with someone, and he's like, well, you don't got to tell him that. But I'm like, but that's how I explain things, right? So it's really understanding and respecting that he's an individual. He's going to do things his way. I'm going to do things my way. Both are the right way, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's like, honey, you can't hammer the nail in like that. I'm like, but it doesn't matter how I get there. The end result is the nail's getting hammered in.
Exactly.
So I think that too is being open to understanding. And I think in a sense that is how you're going to, argue more healthy, right? And then
quantity over
yes,
quality time.
Quality time
over quantity.
Yes, and actually going back to what you were saying on our first, or reinventing our first date, we had this conversation and you said something to me, and I was very profound and I loved it, and it was something to do, and I had no idea about this, about the beehives.
Oh, the beehives.
Yes.
The beehive.
Beehive and the queen bee.
Yeah, so
and I never knew about this. I just thought, like, you're the queen bee. That's just a saying. I love. But I didn't know anything about the actual thing about how that's with the bee and the hive and the queen of the bees. Can you explain?
You really love that.
I did.
Well, no, because I always call you my queen, because I truly think you are, and it just got me thinking about, when there's a beehive and all the bees are there to protect the queen, right? And it's my job to protect you as my queen every day. And without the queen, there's no army of bees. They the one thing that I read is that the queen in the beehive sets the tone, the attitudes, the mindset for all those hundreds of thousands of bees from her pheromones. So if she has good pheromones, she sets the whole mood for the
whole tone.
For the entire beehive. Yeah.
That was
So it's so true. Like any partner, any person, wife, husband, girlfriend, call me old school, but it's up to the man to protect their woman every day. And again, just have fun. Make, you know me, I skip around. It's like, I want to go right to the, the affectionate, talk and how, we keep that alive. But you had mentioned before, and I think one of the things that are the most important thing for me is every day is checking in. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, checking in. Definitely. Checking in. And I think too, it's how quickly can you forgive?
Yeah. Oof, that's a tough one. Viv doesn't forgive that quickly. It takes a little bit. You'll throw it back a little every now and then.
Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and you gotta change. You gotta change. But I will say, stubbornness never leads anywhere. And I will tell you, we've had literal stupid fights or stupid arguments over the silliest things. And it's about, I want to be right and being stubborn. But that can just get dragged out, right? Yeah. So long. And we don't do that anymore because it's like in a snap, all we have to do is just go to the person and say, I'm sorry, and everything is fine, right? So it's like, it does not take that much time to just repair it.
That is.
Where the longer you drag it out, the longer you are more staying in that stubborn mindset, wanting and needing to be right, it's just doing more damage to the relationship than you know.
Correct. But if it's a pattern, that argument is a pattern of something I did wrong or you did wrong. It's also important, and you talk about this all the time, you use this analogy, you just can't mow the lawn. You can't just mow the weeds and because they're going to grow back. You have to physically pull the weeds.
Rip it out.
Rip it
from the root.
From the root. Mm-hmm. So that's also important too, that yes, you have to forgive, but you can't just easily forgive sometimes if your person has that pattern and has done this in the past 10 times. How many more times do you want me to forgive you? Right.
But, and I don't want to interrupt your thought process.
Go ahead.
So like, I'm a huge person and you know that because sometimes you'll say to me when we are having a disagreements where we have moved forward to apologize or to just move forward with it. But it's like, you will tell me and you're like, it's not going to be something that we can fix in the moment. We're going to move forward and we're going to allow our actions and our action steps
That's what I was going
to resolve and it's yes, you have to find the heart and the understanding to forgive, but also the offender, whatever the situation was, and it takes two, is always two sides, but it's about working together to not make it a pattern and a repeat offense. And if it is, then it's like, okay, we really have to take action steps on repairing this and seeing, but it's going to take some time and understanding that. And we've definitely had to do that. Bryan definitely is not, I wouldn't say judges me, but in a sense, like, it's like, oh, hurry up, Vivian, this, and you're late, and then you're training your thought process from a little thing like, why can't she just be on time?
No, my new thought, it's a quality about you.
It's a quality.
Taking maybe a little bit longer in the bathroom, or when we get somewhere and I park the car and you're still in the car
And
for
still in the
20
car.
minutes, and I'm like, what is she doing? But that's a quality about you. That's the shift in mindset. It's not if I kept on focused on the negative, which I have done in the past, it's not going to get me anywhere. No, that's a quality about you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's
As long as it's not an hour.
Exactly no, but obviously I'm very mindful every
Yes.
time that I want to make sure that I'm on time, and that's just like a simple example. But it is about your thoughts of your partner, right? We can easily judge our partner and be like, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, and then this is what replays in our mind as a negative, but it's really training our thought processes to understand that this is his quality, right? And then this is seen as a positive, because then you have to, like your brother said this to me once, Viv, you got to hunt for the good stuff. And it stuck with me. It is. It's like we are so, human nature is to ridicule and judge someone for doing it maybe not the way that we want it, or our way, or for whatever reason. It's just always, we can see the negative perspective from it, but it is about training our subconscious continuously to think that this is a good quality about them, even though it's not a good quality if I am running late all the time. And it's something that I also have to pivot. But that was a pretty good example. Do I really sit in a car for how long? What do I do? Am I in there?
I don't know. I still am trying to figure out this quality about you.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely just seeing each other in the good light.
Definitely.
That's what it is.
And here's the other thing. This conversation that we're having today together with our audience, imagine what this conversation is going to be like. Like, we have to do this 10 years from now. How different our conversation will be, and what other, check-ins or routines did we have to add to keep the relationship going, keep it alive, keep the lust, keep the fun out of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And, that's important too, because when you started off in the beginning of this, you were very specific that, hey, we've only been together for 14 years, going on 15, and we're not even close to like my parents, who've been together for 30 something years. I don't know exactly.
I think it's like 40 years.
40 years. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But to that point, right? So I would love to have that, see what that conversation is like, 5-10 years from now, and what other things that we had to acquire to continue to make our relationship the best.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So, but again, I want like that 40 years to look like the same as now or better.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't want to just settle and be like, oh, we're just comfortable and this is how we're going to end up. And one's on one end of the bed and one's on maybe in a completely different room or bed. And so many couples that I've actually spoken to that don't even sleep in the same bed. And it's like, you need to fix that. Right.
Yeah.
But, so check-ins, how are you arguing, and quality time, right? Versus quantity. It's just like, even if it's 20 minutes. And I think too, it's being each other's support system as like number 4, as like a point, and I would say that you have definitely been on the sidelines with
I'm your cheerleader,
your
with
little
the
pom-poms for sure. And like you said, there's days where I will have, just a moment where I'm like, I can't do this. This is a lot. And you're like, you just bring me back.
Yeah.
And are that support system. And I think that's so important to encourage your partner for whatever their dream is. And I think that could be sometimes if someone is, let's say, because we're different individuals, and maybe one is in a job and one is like, no, I want to start my own business, right? So it's about supporting that person with their dream, but maybe your belief isn't really what they believe in, but it's about being a good support system and not crushing their dream. But also at the same time, I always say it's like, I'm going to be your cheerleader, but I'm also going to be like your third eye perspective, right? I mean, I'm not going to discourage you from doing what you want to do, but I'm also going to have a different perspective because I want to make sure that you're going to see all angles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that third eye is like, you're also going to still be my mentor, and I'm going to be your mentor. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of time what happens is that you want to make that person feel good. You don't want to hurt their feelings, or you want to tell them something as your third eye, something maybe that stands out for you that maybe you could work on. You have to put that relationship for a second there to the side and be like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to mentor you a little bit as well. You may not like what I'm going to say, and we've had conversations like that, but it's for the best of you, your future, and whatever that specific thing or action that you're working on.
Yeah. I mean, look, Bryan, I'll do it all. He's, works his job, does very well at it, has his own construction management business with my brother. He wanted to join forces and be in the permanent makeup world with me, and he can do it all. But it was like, honey, I can see you're overwhelming yourself. You're putting way too many things on your plate. And it's like, if you want to succeed, which one is like the thing that really drives you, you got to let go of one of them, right? Yeah. Because it's also me seeing how he is from the outside and just giving him that perspective. But I think in a lot of relationships, it's hard to allow the other person to not lead in a sense, but be strong. So for a man, and you can speak on this, for a man having a woman that, let's say, could be her, is her own business owner and, basically a strong individual, how is that, so in a sense, like some men don't want their wives to lead.
Yeah.
Right. I don't mean like lead you.
No, I know what you're saying. But would you agree though that I feel like that's like an old school mindset too, right? Like for the Greek, in Greece or where you grew up,
the culture, the
mindset. Would you say that a lot of that is where the man is the dominant one in the household who works, and gets the paycheck while the wife, the mom, takes care of the household and things like that? There's no such thing today. That's not today's world.
It's still alive in a lot of cultures.
You are right. But I guess from the way I see things is you're equal. You're 50-50 just as well as the other person. And going back to that, when I was growing up with my brother, my dad and my mom both work. My dad was in construction. He owned businesses. My mom was a school teacher. But my dad would be away at 4 a.m. or have to leave to go to work and not come home until after we were put down to go to bed. And that kind of, that was a little disrupting as a child. And sometimes you need that father figure around more. Sometimes you need that father figure to show you how they do the laundry or how they do the dishes or whatever it is, right? So to go back to what you were saying before, you also have to be a confident person, a confident male, to be able to allow your other half to be able to grow into their, what they're looking to do, grow into their goals, their journeys. It doesn't have to be cookie cutter.
Yeah.
If you have a new idea and you want to do it and you're working for your employee for 20 years and you go to your husband and be like, I want to start a cake company. I support you. Let's do it. Let's work on it together.
Yeah. And I think what you were saying too, like allowing me to lead, it allows me, and I'm not saying like I'm leading you in a sense, but like lead my own way. I can also there's a great balance with living out of my masculine self as like I'm a boss lady, and also I love to be led and live out of my
great point.
feminine self, and allowing you to lead and take care of things in a certain perspective with other things. So I think just having a balance. I think having a balance has really, worked for us. And I like to be led at times, and I like to be leading at times. Yeah. So I think it's just appreciating both ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really being a support system for each other and a cheerleader, for what that other person wants to do in their journey and their work. Even if it's a simple thing as, hey, like I want to pick up a hobby and just start painting as my side thing. It's just really listening and being supportive, and being there for them. And I think the last point, and I think you've been wanting to talk about this.
I have.
How to keep the spark alive.
Keeping it alive.
Right? Keeping it alive.
Keeping it going.
All right. So what would you say?
Oh, man, you got to do everything, guys. From dressing up to dressing down to, surprising them with the rose on the bed and
the bed.
No. But that stuff too, but just keeping it fun.
Yeah, keeping it fun. Being kid-like.
Being kid-like.
Being new, being fresh.
Going to the beach and just bringing a bottle of wine and
or tequila.
Hanging out, or tequila. She loves her tequila. Just the other night, how did we end our night? The date night. Our reinvention of our first date night. What do we do in the driveway?
Oh, in the driveway. Yes.
We jammed out to like 3 different songs.
We literally sat in the car. And some of our favorite songs, and one of them is a Rihanna song that I can...
Man Down. Yes.
I can... how do you say that? Spit the lyrics?
You can definitely spit the lyrics on that
one. On that one?
I mean, she does the whole thing.
The whole thing.
But things like that...
I felt like I was a teenager just, so much fun. Hanging out in the car and just singing.
I don't think my neighbors probably liked it.
And we literally sat in the driveway and like, it just happened. But it is. It's doing things that are fun and that we like to do. But I think, how do you keep the spark alive? And this could be a little controversial, and this we'll end it with this because I think we're just going on and on. But it's keeping the spark alive, and the lust and the love also is about taking care of yourself for your person, right? I know you will love me. You will absolutely love me, and I will absolutely still love you and adore you if you just let yourself go. If you never shaved, never worked out, if you gained a couple pounds or more, I will always love you no matter what, right? Through everything, sickness, health, good or bad, right? Yep. But I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm attracted to how you look now. Muscular, shaved, clean cut, dressed nice. It's just...
Likewise.
If I get a plate of schlop, I don't know, slop. If I get a plate on my... Why do you think culinary is all about the way your plate looks?
Presentation.
The presentation, right? Yes. So it has to be tasteful to the eye. And maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but... First look on you, when we started dating again, I was like, I forgot how good he looks. And I was like, really cute, really tasty. Right? But if there is like garnish and colorful plate on my plate, it's going to make my appetite like, ooh, I cannot wait to dig into this and eat it. Right? So I find that has to be kept alive. Like, I know you're going to love me.
Yeah.
Even on my ugliest moments and days that I'm sick and you're like, holding my hair back because I have a virus and I'm throwing up and whatnot. But I invest in myself. And this is, ladies, listen carefully. Honey, this is for you. All of this, stuff that I have to buy for myself is for you. Just kidding, but not kidding.
I don't think it's controversial at all.
I want my partner to look good and to stay healthy and to be fit if that's what you like, if you like the fit.
But like you said, if you...
I'm doing it for me and I'm doing it for my partner.
Correct. And you're attracted to that person in the beginning. There's a certain attraction.
Mm-hmm.
That attraction should always be there. It should actually, we say it all the time. I mean, I'm more attracted to you than I was when I first met you, just because I guess the way we have grown together and you continue to make yourself just shine. And that attractiveness is not just, oh my God, you're beautiful, because you are, but it's also who you've grown into and the person who you are today. And yeah, and that's why every morning I'm chasing you around the house or at night, or
we chase each other.
We chase each other, and
but
no,
it
I think it's important to meet each other halfway, and keeping up with yourself.
Yeah,
it is important.
It's about
important.
Growing your mindset, growing yourself as an individual. It's, keeping yourself fit, healthy, all of that. Mm-hmm. I think what it alludes to is confidence.
Confidence.
And I think that, to me, when you are confident in yourself, that's sexy as hell. Mm-hmm. Right? That was the first thing that got me to Bryan. He was just so confident. First time he walked into my house when we first met, he did a little wraparound around the kitchen island, opened my fridge and said, almond milk and tofu? I'm going to starve here. And I'm like, who is this guy? And so I think it's just about caring for yourself mm-hmm. and for who you are representing for your person.
Yes.
And I think that, in a sense, keeps the spark alive, in my opinion.
And movie kisses.
He always used to say that. He's like, can you kiss me like a movie kiss?
Hey, this is,
yes.
Movie kisses.
Movie kisses. But anyway, that's really all we got for you guys. These are just some things that we do to keep our spark alive and our relationship going. And we know that it's going to continue to grow because we stay in our commitment to ourselves, to grow ourselves and to grow as a couple. So
yeah. I had a great time with you.
I had a great time with you.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. And thanks for listening and for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.